Have you ever wondered what it was actually like to record an audiobook and how to make that happen? Are you an author, entrepreneur, business owner, and you've already written a book? You need to watch this episode.
Grab a cup of joe, buckle up, and let's embark on a journey of self-discovery, creativity, and entrepreneurship. Let's get rolling.
Welcome back to the Rhythm of the Road podcast. I am your hostess with the mostest, Jeremy Schreifels. Thank you for being here today. I'm really grateful for those of you that have made it along this whole journey. Some of you have been here since episode 1, and this is 107. We've hit that over 100 mark. Thank you so much for being here. And we are back on our audiobook adventure series today on the 7th. So if you haven't checked out any of the other audiobook adventures, we'll make sure to drop that playlist for you below so that you can just enjoy all of the content or these episodes that are specifically around audiobooks and why that might be important to you if you're an author, entrepreneur, business owner, and you want your brand out there and your voice out there. You need to keep on listening. And here's why. You are missing an entire market of folks, customers, leads, clients, people that you just might want to change their mind, their life, what they're doing. Fill in the blank. It depends on what your brand is, what your book is about, what you're about, what story are you trying to tell. An audiobook is one of the best ways to do that. Along with podcasts, it's a growing, rising market, and most people are doing books on audio today. They just can put them in their headphones and go about their day. I was talking to somebody the other day. They're on like 220 books already for 2025. And just as a reference, this is like mid-October of 2025. So they're doing a lot of books in a year. So imagine if you could tap into a market where folks are consuming information and consuming stories and consuming information at that volume. It takes somebody way longer to read a print book. And I'm not saying that that's not valid, because it totally is, because you couldn't have an audiobook without having a book. So there it is. So I thought I'd talk today just about the process, like how do you even record an audiobook and what are some things. Previous episodes in this series, we've talked about pro tips and ways you can use it and do all those kinds of things. So I thought I would back it all the way up after, I don't know, a half dozen episodes or so and talk about how you can actually do it. Well, similar to what you might have heard in the podcast series a couple of weeks ago, you got to first decide, am I going to do this? Yes, I'm going to do this. You should do this. If you're questioning it, the answer is definitely yes. So just commit to doing it. So here's some things to be thinking about. You need to find a space that you can do it in. So you don't want a super lively room. A really easy way to do it is a lot of people just do it like in a clothing closet, because it's going to have the most amount of sound taken out. So you're not going to have a bunch of extraneous noise, which makes the editing process a lot easier. So begin with the end in mind. You don't want to work so hard, right? I know in audio and in music, they say, well, fix it in post. Well, I can tell you with audiobooks, you want to fix less in post and really concentrate on just getting that good sound up front. So take that time. Find a space that makes sense for you. You can get a pretty good microphone for like $100 to $200, whether it's on Amazon or go to your local music store and ask them for some advice. You can get a USB plug-in sort of microphone, $100 to $200 again. If you want something, there's a podcast, an audiobook kind of gear site on my Box 7 Media site to give you some ideas on some gear that you can use. I use the Shure M7. It's an industry standard in the recording industry for audio, so it works pretty great for me. So I use the same thing when we're recording audiobooks here. Makes life a lot easier on the editing side. Then carve out some time for it, right? You've written the book, you know how long that took, so it's going to take some time to record it. So just stop, pause, figure out when you're going to give yourself some time. So just to kind of give you an idea, if you have like about 30,000 words in your book, which is like about a 150-page book, it's going to be somewhere around 3 to 3.5 hours of finished audio. So like when you're all done, it's about that length of time. And for each hour of finished audio, it's going to be about 2 to 3 hours of recording time. So think about that. If it's a 3-hour book, you could have up to about 9 hours of recording time, because it just takes some time. You're going to have mistakes. You're going to get tired. Your voice is going to wear out. You're not used to doing this. You might talk a lot in Zoom all day or in meetings all day, but this is a completely different experience. And make sure you just go back and check out some of those narration tips back on episode 67. You might get an idea of what I'm talking about. And then as you plan that time, I usually say plan 2 days, if not 3 in a row, to do it in like 3 to 5 hour segments, whatever you can handle. You don't want to push yourself too far, but you want to try to get as far as you can. I recommend getting as far as you can on day 1. So day 2 is a little bit more relaxed. And if you need to go back and do some, you can. And then you have that extra day just in case you're like, didn't really like that part. Let's go back and just kind of redo that. So it gives you some options. What it really helps you do is relax your mind and brain that you don't have to crank it out. You don't have to get it done in a certain amount of time. Give yourself the extra time and space to make sure it can happen. Then you just need to show up and do the recording. Hit the red button, hit the start button. You can do that in simple software. They have Audacity. You can do things like Adobe Audition. You can do it in Logic. There's all sorts of recording audio platforms. Just make sure you do it something that's stable and on your computer where you can save it. Please don't do the audio recording on your iPhone. It's not going to turn out as good. So there's my word to caution. Or one of those green phones if you're one of those folks. Try to do it. Not even try. Make sure you do it using a microphone and using a computer so that your hands are free. You can be thinking about it. I recommend using an iPad for your actual book, for the print to read from. That way you don't have any page turning issues you have to mess with or shuffling of papers, none of that. Hands can be free. You can be talking, right? And here's a key, right? You need to perform this book, not just speak it. Nobody wants to listen to that comatose. I mean, unless you're James Earl Jones, nobody wants to just listen to that monotone voice for 3 hours of your book. So you want to perform it. Do some things. Move your arms, move your face, move your whole person, get into it, make it a performance, because that's what people are going to hear on the other end. Because the microphone, it doesn't ever lie. So think about that. Then have some fun with it. Or get into the character of whatever your book is. I say have fun with it, but if it's a dark book or it's telling a story of something that maybe isn't that fun, think about that. How is you going to approach your audience that way? You can go back a little bit and find some things that you can be thinking about while you're recording your audiobook, some kind of pro tip things. Pro tip, make sure you save often. Make sure that I recommend you save each chapter in its own separate audio file. That way you're not trying to edit one big long file, because when you upload it to ACX at the end, you have to have them in individual chapters anyway, which will likely match the printed chapters for your printed book that you're putting up from KDP. Once you're done with that, then you need to bring it into an editing software. And likely, if you're putting it into an audio software that it's capturing the audio, it has some edit capabilities. You're going to want to make sure that you take a look at ACX's page for their standards for their audio, and you can kind of look at what those metrics are and match your audio to that. But some things you're going to make sure, take out the breaths, take out like a bunch of the popping noises. Might take you a little bit of time. And then kind of think about spacing and phrasing. Just kind of close your eyes and listen to it as it plays and be like, oh yeah, I got to adjust that. You can make some silence longer. You can make it shorter to kind of make those phrases make sense. But I usually, instead of watching it as you play it, I always say close your eyes, because then you're listening how the listener would listen. It just gives you a better sense of how that actually feels. Then once you've done that, you want to take it and make sure you hit all of those markers in terms of what ACX's requirements are. You need to have so much silence at the front of an audio file. You need to have so much silence at the back of an audio file. And then there's a noise level, a loudness level, and some silence, or like the noise floor level, that you got to be kind of cognizant of. I'm not going to get into those technical details today because this isn't like that video, because I would need to show you those things to do that. And if you're listening in your car, because you're listening to this on an audio platform, it wouldn't be that helpful to you anyway. But there are tons of tools out there to help you discover what those are and then make those happen. Then you just want to make sure that it's saved in an MP3 file or MP3 format, mono, and make sure that's, again, one of those specs that ACX makes sure you have. And then you're going to log in, create your narrator account on ACX, similar to your author account that you do on KDP. You're going to walk through that whole setup process. Then it's going to ask you to upload your book. It will actually connect you with your KDP book and pull in all your descriptions, and it will pull in your chapters. So then you can just go in and upload the pieces. A couple things that you have to remember when you do your audiobook, it's going to ask you for opening and closing credits. And that's just talking about the title of the book and the author, production credits, copyright credits, those kinds of things. And then another awesome thing is when people go to Audible to kind of test your book, they want to hear a sample of it. It's called a retail audio sample. So they ask you for about a 3 to 5 minute little sample. You can either take it from a single chapter, you can string together a few different moments of your book. It just kind of gives the listener an idea of what that's going to kind of sound like in their feel of it. You're going to want to make sure to also include that. And those are some kind of extra things that I've learned along the way to make sure I do upfront or think about upfront. Then once you get it all uploaded into ACX, they have 10 business days to get that process and put out into the world of Audible and Amazon and Spotify and Apple, iTunes, all of those places, actually Apple Books, not iTunes. They have 10 business days, and I've had it take anywhere from 3 days to 9 days and almost up to the full 10 full business days. Just depends on how many books they have coming in because they have a lot. So that's like the 10-minute version of how to create your audiobook and how to get it uploaded into ACX. If you need some more help, reach out to me, connect with me at Box 7 Media. We can help you walk through the process. We can do it for you. We can do it with you. And we have all of the options in between. So thank you. Thank you for listening. If you have more questions or you have comments or what was your favorite audiobook experience or what's the favorite one you listen to, throw it down in the comments because other people might be looking for other good books to listen to. So thank you so much, and I'll see you down the road.
Thanks for cruising with me on this episode of Rhythm of the Road. Remember, the journey itself is the destination. Until next time, keep the rhythm flowing, and we'll see you down the road.